Let's just jump right in. Imagine this. To the outside world, you look totally ordinary. You go to work, you come home. Simple, right? But behind the scenes, you're quietly engineering an empire. An empire that no one will even see until it's way too late for them to compete. This is the playbook for building real wealth in the shadows. And really, this is the core idea. It's the foundation for everything we're about to cover. This isn't just about making some money. It's about building power that's unshakable, all without ever showing up on anyone's radar. It's about becoming an invisible force. Machiavelli would have called this the very first discipline, the art of concealment. It's all about appearing harmless, maybe even a little average, while you're secretly consolidating true power. Think of the Medici family back in Florence. On the surface, they were just some humble bankers, but behind the curtain, they were controlling papal elections, funding wars, and bankrolling the entire Renaissance. See, the most dangerous power is always the power that nobody suspects you have.
All right, so where do you even begin? Well, the first stage is all about your mindset and your appearance. It's about building the foundation of a silent strategist, laying all the groundwork before a single brick of your empire is even visible to the outside world. This is it, rule number 1, and it's absolutely crucial. Build your wealth in silence. But why? Why the secrecy? Because public success awakens envy, and Machiavelli knew that envy always attracts opposition. Every time you broadcast a win, you're inviting challenges, you're inviting scrutiny, and you're inviting people who want a piece of what you're building. Silence is your best shield. And this quote from Machiavelli himself shows exactly why that humble appearance works so well. What he means is, most people confuse the symbols of wealth with actual wealth. They see an expensive watch and assume you're rich. They see a modest car and assume you're just getting by. Let them. That fundamental mistake is your greatest strategic advantage. What's so interesting here is how this idea cuts completely against modern culture. Today, everyone is screaming for attention, thinking that's how you get respect. But the wise strategist? They know the truth. Real, sustainable progress grows fastest in the shadows, free from the heavy weight of public opinion and the constant drag of envy. So you have to ask yourself, which game are you really playing? So let's think about this a different way. Start treating your capital like your own private army. Every single dollar you don't spend on some flashy gadget or an unnecessary upgrade, well, that's another soldier you can deploy. When you spend to impress people, you are literally giving away your soldiers. You're giving away your power. But when you save to invest, you're building an army that eventually makes you untouchable. Okay, so you've mastered the mindset. Now it's time to shift into action, into building your active empire. This next phase is all about taking that silent capital and putting it to work, strategically, relentlessly, to build your financial fortress. Now, the very first enemy your army has to fight is the one you can't even see. It's inflation. Think of it as a silent thief that is constantly eating away at your capital every single day. Money just sitting in a bank account is like a soldier sleeping in the barracks. It's getting weaker over time, it's losing its power. The wealthy get this, and they are always acting against it. And that leads us straight to rule number 2, make your money move. Your army has to always be on the march. It can never, ever be idle. Your job, as the general, is to move your capital out of positions of decay, like cash, and into positions of growth, into assets that work for you. So where do you deploy this army? Well, back in the Renaissance, wealthy merchants would send ships out across the sea. Now, many of them were lost, sure, but the few that returned brought back absolute fortunes. These are the modern versions of those merchant ships, assets that you send your capital out into. They're the vehicles that generate wealth while you sleep, quietly compounding your power. This visual here really drives home a core principle of resilience. Build multiple fortresses. A ruler with just one fortress, no matter how strong it is always vulnerable. A single, long siege can bring them down. But a ruler with castles all over the land, they're basically invincible. The exact same thing is true for your income. Relying on one job is like having one fortress. Building multiple streams of income makes your entire financial domain unconquerable. Okay, let's move to the final stage. You've built the foundation, your empire is actively growing, now you have to protect it. And this is all about building a fortress that can endure for generations, using structure, secrecy, and the right alliances. So rule number 6 is all about protecting your empire with structure and silence. See, in our era, fortresses aren't made of stone and mortar, they're made of legal paper. This means creating a legal shield between your personal identity and your wealth, building legal fortresses like LLCs and trusts to protect what you've built from lawsuits, creditors, or anyone else who might come looking for it. So how do you actually do this? Well, you create what's essentially a maze of ownership. You don't hold valuable assets in your own name. Instead, you employ invisible generals, your lawyers and your accountants, to build this maze for you. Each property gets its own separate LLC. Your investments are held in a trust. To an outsider, your wealth becomes incredibly difficult to track, let alone attack. Now, this might be the most Machiavellian rule of them all. Rule number 8, choose allies who protect your secrecy. Empires rarely fall from outside invasion. They fall from internal leaks. Your inner circle is everything. One careless friend, one envious business partner, they can unravel years of silent work. You absolutely have to surround yourself with people who understand and respect the code of silence. And that takes us to our final and maybe most important rule. Rule number 9 is to continuously evolve in quiet. Because power isn't a destination you arrive at. It's a dynamic, ongoing process. The moment you stop learning and adapting, your empire starts to decay. And here's the capstone, the final idea that holds this entire strategy together. Your quiet knowledge compounds faster than your capital ever will. Your greatest asset isn't what's in your bank account, it's what's in your head. Read what other people ignore about finance, about psychology, about how markets really work. That knowledge becomes the ultimate defense and the ultimate engine for growth for your entire empire. And that brings our whole journey full circle. You start as an ordinary person, but by applying these principles, you become the master of a quiet, unshakable domain. You build a hidden legacy of true sovereignty and true independence. So ultimately, it really just boils down to this choice. The dreamer performs for an audience. They're looking for applause, for validation. Their success is loud, but it's fragile. The strategist, on the other hand, builds in silence, and they are seeking only one thing: victory. Their success is quiet, but it is absolute. And isn't that the final paradox here? That true, unshakable power lies in being invisible. It's the quiet confidence of knowing your independence can't be threatened, your wealth can't be easily measured, and your peace can't be bought. You operate from a position of quiet strength that nobody else can even see. Look, the entire world is playing a loud game. Everybody is screaming for attention. So the real question you have to ask yourself is, are you going to play that game? Or are you going to play a different one, a longer one? Are you building a legacy in silence, one that will still be standing long after all the noise has faded away?
Please like and subscribe for more trading content, and then subscribe for more daily, weekly trading insights.